Well, before I posted a video about my 1973 Rolls-Royce Corniche, and I was saying I wanted to restore it and paint it red, and I wasn't sure what to do with it. So I did. Look, it's beautiful now. Look, it's been painted red, completely restored, new top, everything. No, I'm just kidding. You know I didn't do that. I'm just messing with you. This just got delivered to me last night. This is a 1985 Rolls-Royce Corniche in a nice wine burgundy red. Beautiful, beautiful car. I found this car in Ohio. It was such a good deal. I just couldn't pass it up, and I decided that the smartest thing to do would just be to get a different car that's already well sorted instead of trying to restore Mark Goodson's Corniche. In my previous video, I talked about this 1973 Rolls-Royce Corniche that belonged to the television producer Mark Goodson, and we had Gary Mavers come and look at it, and I wanted to paint the car red. It already has kind of the same color interior. It's kind of, that one's a sort of off-white beige with red piping. This one's sort of an off-white beige with black, which I do like. But I've decided that what I'm gonna do is fix a little bit of the mechanicals on this car. This car runs and drives. We're gonna go ahead and fix some of the leaking hydraulics and things for the brakes, get that sorted, get it running and driving. Then I'm gonna collect all the parts, and then I'm gonna sell this car to someone who wants to do a restoration on it. So this car is gonna be a good deal for sale soon. If you're interested in it, send me a contact and maybe we'll work something out. But the car runs, it drives, it does stop, but we just need to sort out a leaking hose on the brake system, bleed the brakes, and I think they're gonna come back. But the thing fires right up and runs great. So it's a pretty nice car, and with a new paint job and whatnot, it's not gonna look too different than the one I just picked up. Let's go take a look at it though. Look at this, I got a whole fleet of Rolls Royces. There's my 1967 Silver Shadow. So this is a 1985. It's the first time I've had one this new. And it is just very, very nice inside. It's a slight off-white cream with a blonde, I'm gonna say that's a bird's eye maple maybe. That's what that looks like to me, correct me if I'm wrong. The interior of this thing looks fantastic. I'm really, really happy with the car. The car runs and drives perfectly. I've been driving it around. I got it late last night, and I wanna talk about that experience a little bit. But real quick, we'll take a look at it. Shows 75,000 miles, I believe it. That's kind of high miles for this car. I was tripped out by this Kenwood deck because it looks to me like it's a drop-down CD player, but check this out. I opened it, and it's actually a drop-down cassette. I don't think I've ever seen one of those. I am going to replace this with one of the Blaupont new replicas. It has these digital displays here. If I turn the accessory on, I think they'll come on. Shows you the outside temperature in Celsius, and I'm a stupid American, so I don't know how to read Celsius. Has a working clock, and then this is a stopwatch. I don't know what the point of this is, but you can set a stopwatch for yourself so you can count your time like a cabbie or something. Coming down here, we have, of course, an ashtray. This is the hood or top operation up and down. These are the mirrors. This is a lockout for the rear windows. We have a locking little cubby here. The temperature controls are very different on this car from my other cars. Every Rolls-Royce I've ever had has a pull here to operate the vents, right? This one doesn't have a pull, it has an automated operation here. When you set it to auto, it will automatically adjust the temperature based on where these are turned into the hot or the cold. And it will also control the level of the fan speed, or you can override that with low, auto, and high. This button here that says auto and fascia, I didn't understand what that means, but what it does, according to the manual, is when you drop the top, it will turn off the upper air conditioning because they figure top's open, you don't need it. But if you want to override that, you press fascia, and then it will let you operate this and override that. But when it's on auto, it will turn this on or off depending on your top is open. They figure, hey, if the top's open, what do you need air conditioning for? But hey, I do stuff like that. Over here you have all of these dummy light controls, an ice warning. A lamp are out, fuel, washer fluid, engine, brake 1 and 2. Everybody knows about these. These use mineral oil. They don't use the .3 or the RR363. They use a mineral oil. We'll talk about that. But this thing just, what? It didn't start. There it goes. It starts and runs very quietly. And then it died. It's been running all day and it worked perfect. It's been sitting around for a few years, so these things need to be looked at. And it has this button here, says oil level. Supposedly, you're supposed to have the car running when you check it, but this will show you using your fuel gauge, and it shows I have some low oil. I need to add a little, but that's an interesting thing. And now the button's stuck. It won't pop back out. Now it's stuck on oil. Okay. So I just need to go through this thing and kind of get it all up to par and play with it a bit. All right, let's take a look under the bonnet. Very interesting. I haven't seen one of these cars with this particular air filter on there. That's kind of interesting. Same 6.75 liter Rolls-Royce V8 it's just like the one on that car over there. Big, huge warning. Do not use anything but mineral oil in this thing. They're very serious about that. You put regular .3 in here, you're going to destroy the system. There's always an ambulance driving by. Somebody's always getting hurt in this town, apparently. Air conditioning in this thing works great. This thing runs cool as a cucumber. This thing has been well taken care of. And it's always interesting to go through my different Rolls-Royce cars. I have 3 of this type of model that are silver shadow based, and it's just always interesting to see how they're put together and the slight differences and changes that they made to these things over the years. But they're all basically silver shadows. This is a 1985, as I've mentioned, and there's a few small changes here and a few things I'm going to clean up and change, but other than that, it's very well put together. I mean, the padding under here is really nice. You got body color mirrors. I thought about doing a modification to the hubcaps, cutting out the center and mounting in the actual ones that stay upright. I don't know. I think that would be fun to do. Probably going to get new tires. You do have, this being a later model, has the body color bumpers as well instead of the chrome. I don't mind it. I like it. You can see where this one had the ability to have the little headlight washer brushes, but it doesn't have it. Doesn't have the fog lights either, but it does have the Euro spec rear fog lights, which are red. A Euro spec car, these would light up red with a switch, as you can see. The boot's a bit of a mess because I've been goofing around in there, playing around. This is the parade boot that goes over the top. Here you have this little section that opens up where you have your crank style jack, and then under this carpet would be an access point to drop that rear wheel. We're not going to mess with that though. Then on this side, I was playing around looking for a toolkit, had this little thing here. And so this is the oil that's used for the system, a CHF 7.1 it's called. This is engine oil here. This is the oil that the top uses. Well, this is the mineral oil. So maybe this is for the top, hydraulic oil. I need to look at this stuff carefully. So there's all kinds of things going on in here. There's always fluids needed for the Rolls-Royce. Of course. It's gonna need some fluids, it's gonna need some oil, it's gonna need all these things. So you always have those ready to go with you. There's a messy roll of towel. But I'm happy with it. Here you have a battery cutoff switch there. Taking a look over here at the passenger compartment. I watched some great videos. I watched some interviews of some guys that worked at Park Ward, and they talked about how they would make all of these custom handles out of brass, as well as all of the windows. These windows are made of brass channel and then chromed. Look at how well this is done. It's just really well done. This rubber is not in too bad a condition. It's still somewhat soft and pliable. It's still usable. That's what you want to look for, that soft pliability. The wood is in great shape. This piping is in good condition. You have this button that electronically releases a brake, and it doesn't work. So you have to reach down here and do this. So that needs to be adjusted. So getting in the back, I don't know how much I would want to ride back here. But you do have a little switch here that operates these lights here. This is a window switch, cigarette lighter. There's always cigarette lighters. There's always smokers. There's always smoking going on. Taking a look here in this spot, there's supposed to be a plate here. Sometimes that plate is for the tire pressure and things like that, and sometimes it's a commemorative plate for the owner. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to go all the way through this, but I do have the booklet and some paperwork, some fuses. Looks to me, let's see, Taylor Motors, Fort Lauderdale, Rolls-Royce specialist. That must be who took care of the car. We have some religious tracks in here. What else? A few pieces of paperwork from the previous owner. I think it was a woman named Nancy Drescher, and I believe that she passed away. And this was her car. There's a map light that turns on these dome lights. We'll look at those later. This button, apparently, you press this button, bang, and you get a straw. I don't know what that's for, but sometimes you need a straw. You know, Florida. And look at that, I don't know what was going on with that. So this is your fuse panel, which is very different from the other ones I've seen, which is normally under the driver's side. I like this a lot. This is very well done. I like how this fuse box is laid out with everything listed right there. Everything seems to be working right now. I'm gonna take this Coke straw out of here. But coming back over here, you know, I think it's all pretty self-explanatory. We showed all this a minute ago. This is interesting though, on these Corniche. On my other Corniche, this is a speaker. On this one, they put a small speaker down here on the door, which probably isn't that great. I'm probably gonna have to remove this door panel because this window is moving very slow. But check this out. You twist this, and inside is a bar with a flask, Rolls-Royce vodka, and shot glasses, because of course there is. I mean, what a different time. You know, I'm old enough to remember, if you're very young, I'm old enough to remember when you could legally drink and drive. You know, you just weren't allowed to be drunk, but you could drink. I mean, here is a bar in the door. And by the way, there is one on the other side as well, right? Pour me a bourbon, Jeeves. And interestingly enough, and unlike the Silver Shadow 4-door, there are no tray tables or anything back here, just some pockets. You know, the Silver Shadow, just for fun, for those of you maybe who are watching the first time, let's take a look at my 1967 Silver Shadow, which is still under construction. We're refreshing the interior. So you can see how similar the car is. And coming to the back here, which we're still putting the door panels on, but this will give you a look inside of what the door looks like and the motors. But you can see that these cars have these tray tables, which we've refurbished. You know, we re-glossed these and prettied them up and cleaned up the leather quite a bit. We're still putting this all back together, so this is a work in progress. But just to show you the difference between 1967 and 1985, not a giant amount of difference. It's not crazy different. A little bit different layout of the gauges, but this is the exact same steering column. They just put a different wheel on it. They've repositioned where the things are. They've moved this switch panel over to the left. But it's not different. I mean, it's the same kind of gauges, a lot of the same kind of switches. But, you know, you have these pulls, and this is a much more complicated system because this pull open and closes this vent. But then you have this drop-down vent that lets you get air directly from the matrix right behind it. Then you have your upper and lower controls at 3 different levels, 1, 2, and 3. And then this is the temperature adjustment. And then this is a fan adjustment. So I don't understand how all these volumes are supposed to work together. This is a fan adjustment. This is a level adjustment, temperature adjustment, followed by another. It's just like, it's like operating a calliope like an organ. You're like, what's going on? I did some slight refurbishing to this thing. I didn't want to sand on it too hard because I learned my lesson that if you sand on it just a little bit too much, this veneer is a millimeter thick and you'll burn right through it. So I just did a light sand on it, just re-glossed it just to make it glossy. Added these little Rolls-Royce decals. I thought they looked very nice. Same keys they use and everything. They didn't really change much. The engine of this thing, very similar. I mean, the engine itself is the same, but you have a completely different hydraulic system using a .3 fluid and then these SU hydraulically powered carburetors. And here's the thing. This car, 1967. Let's see if it makes a fool of me. Nope, look at that. Starts right up. That's the thing about these Rolls-Royces. They are the best car in the world. The engines will always run. You might need to fix the windows and a bunch of other stuff. But, I mean, this car is old. Very, very old. And, what a car, right? So not a lot of difference between this one and that one with all those years. Let's show some of the operation of this car. And I'm going to detail it today. That was my plan. Let's give it a quick start. This is mechanically fuel injected. It runs pretty quiet once it gets going. These are the gauges. Now you can see the steering wheel is a little bit different. You know, they've leather wrapped it instead of it being made out of that Bakelite. See the horn. Oh, regular car horn. Here are these digital gauges working. They seem to serve no purpose. Well, the clock, but I would rather have a traditional clock. Now, I've seen what this cluster looks like. It's a big square plastic thing behind there, so you can't individually change these, because I would rather have an analog clock. I would rather have analog gauges here. I don't know if they make a conversion kit for that. This is very 80s. They wanted to show to the world they could have some modern things. So this window works good. Okay. But this one over here is giving me problems. It's moving a little slow. I'm trying to rev it up to give it more volts. So I'm gonna have to pull this door apart and go through that track and get it figured out. It goes. All right, here's the back one. That one goes fine. And then this one back here, it goes fine. Now I want you to check out the top operation here. You just flip this thing here. I'm gonna get that loose, like that. That's all there is to it. Now, this button here that says up and down, we're gonna go with down. Watch how quick this thing does. It just flies back. And then that's where it rests. It doesn't go down any further. Okay, real quick, let's talk about the shipping of this thing. I have ranted about this in my videos for years. There's something about the car shipping industry that is completely dominated by these Eastern European, like Russians and Romanians. I'm not sure where they're from. The guy that brought this car last night was from Uzbekistan, I think is what it's called. Guy looked like he was about 20 years old, in his flip-flops and his pajamas, in a rented, beat-up old truck with bald tires, tail lights out, rear hitch bent, trailer falling apart, you know. So I'm talking about, look at this. No tail lights, overloaded B&W hitch. This thing's about to bust. This thing's rusty. Bunch of tires in the back. These are Rant, so it's a Cummins. It's an enterprise truck rental, so it's a 2500 that he rented. All right. It's been living in the thing. Missing fenders. Just have some blowouts. Blowout, blowout, blowout. Lots of blowouts. Door was replaced. Let's see. Bald tire. Bald tire. Right? Looks like I got a new front tire. So that's what I'm talking about, guys. Every one of these, you know, there's his parts and pieces from where shit blew apart. Every one of these Russian truck driver dudes, you know, they're just barely making it on a wing and a prayer. Well, you made good time. You're hauling ass.
Yeah.
There it is. So far, it's in one piece. Oof. Straight. And that's not what I paid for. I originally hired a company called Tempix Logic, I think, through UShip. They screwed me around for a week. I fired them. I hired another company called eShip. I said, I want, you know, white glove service. I want enclosed trailer. They said, if you're willing to pay a little bit more money, $2,400, we'll have the car picked up today, Friday, in about 3 hours. I said, you got it. Gave them a credit card, American Express. They charged me $300. They said, when the driver gets there, you're gonna give him $2,100 cash. I said, okay. So they didn't pick up the car Friday. They didn't pick up the car Saturday. They didn't pick up the car Sunday or Monday. Tuesday, the day that it was supposed to be delivered, I call ranting and raving, and I say, look, I need this car. They said, okay, we got a guy coming to pick it up. But you can't talk to him because he doesn't speak English. Really? And I said, really? He doesn't speak English. If he doesn't speak English, how does he have a DOT? How does he have a commercial driver's license, a CDL? He's driving a tractor trailer, goes, no, I don't know what he's got. He shows up at the car lot in his beat up truck with his beat up trailer. I mean, hell, I got a 40-foot aluminum Sundowner over there with a Ram 3500. He didn't even have anything that nice. Forget it. And I said, you just let some dude load my vintage classic Rolls-Royce into some beat up truck? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? He shows up a week late. Then here's the grift, right? Here's the real grift. I gotta get out of this wind. He says $2,200. I go, I got a receipt here that says $2,100. He says, no, there must have been a mistake or something. You know, through his broken English. We're trying to translate. Long story short, I ended up having to give him $2,200. So I got ripped off for an extra $100, $2,500 I was charged. Supposed to be charged $2,400. They were a week late. And these guys this is the entire shipping industry. I was expecting a tractor trailer with a real, you know, trailer to haul this thing. No, no matter what you pay, no matter what they tell you, they send one of these Russian dudes or whatever they're from, Turkey or wherever he's from. These guys are working for pennies. They live in their trucks. They all wear flip-flops and pajamas. You know, this is not a racist thing or xenophobia or national, you know, I'm fine with an immigrant getting a job. Do you have a CDL? Do you speak English? Do you have a DOT certificate? Do you have insurance to cover this thing? Do you have a proper truck and trailer and tires? No, you do not. That's my complaint. All right, on with the tour. All right, let's check it out in its glory. Now, you would put the parade boot on there that would snap on. That takes a little bit of time and effort. So, I'd like to keep it that way. It's a pretty quiet car as compared to the other ones. What a beautiful car. Boy, you just can't beat that grill. And how many times have you seen a red and white Corniche in a movie or a music video? There's a rap music video called like Open Up or something like that. He's driving around a red Corniche. How about the Elton John music video for Nikita, where he's in a car just like this, red with a white interior, right? What a beautiful car. Down and out in Beverly Hills, I forget which color that car was. The piping, I love the red piping. It's a bit of a burgundy color. It's a rag back there. But what a car, right? I got this car for a steal. I don't know if I want to say what I paid for it, because I stole this car. I stole this car. Old lady died. Car got traded into a car dealership. Really cheap. They were a modern Chrysler dealership. They didn't know what to do with the car. The salesman's gonna see this video, and I'm gonna pick on him a little. They did not properly sell this car. This car should have went for double the price. If they'd have just cleaned it up and took, you know, just waxed it, cleaned the interior, done proper videos and pictures of this car, put it on Bring a Trailer, this car should have went for double what I paid for it. And I'll give you a hint. This car should probably sell for about $80,000. Maybe 75, I don't know. It's high mileage with 75,000 miles, but it's well sorted. I've seen underneath this car, it's beautiful. So the car's not for sale. Don't bother me. Don't contact me trying to buy the car. I'm keeping this. I'm keeping this. Not selling it. This is not a for sale video. Just showing you what it looks like to have a 1985 Corniche. These armrests are adjustable, by the way, and removable. There's a switch here. You can flip that and you can move this up and down. They're supposed to be angled like that. This little button is the door locks. This is the seat operation. These are hand-built at Mulliner Park Ward. Before I bought the car, I asked the fella to operate every single thing. I said, please operate every single thing on the car for me. And, you know, I just said, operate every button. I want to see everything move and work, and it did. And car weighs 5,500 pounds, I think. But these are hand-built cars, so Mulliner Park Ward was a separate company that eventually merged with Rolls-Royce, if I'm saying that correctly. Rolls-Royce would deliver to them an engine, chassis, and front, I believe. So I think they would only get this part of the car, the front clip, and then Mulliner Park Ward would build the rest of this back, I think. They might be getting door skins, I think, from Rolls-Royce, and then, but you can see the difference. Because I was like, okay, are they just taking a Silver Shadow and then like turning it into a two-door? But that doesn't seem to be the case. You know, now you could get the Corniche as a hardtop, a two-door hardtop. I don't understand why anybody would do that. I guess they just want a two-door. And I don't see what really makes the Corniche, you know, much better than the regular crew-built Rolls-Royce. But, you know, these door handles are a little bit nicer. Some of the coach work is a little nicer. I mean, look at the stainless or the chrome that's put together on this little area here. But all of this is custom done. All of this wood. This rubber could be a little softer. I'm going to put some rejuvenator on it, see if I can bring it back. This felt is still pretty good, but it could probably go for some more of that. I might go ahead and, this is a little hard to me. I'm going to probably replace this header piece here. That seals up in here. I was getting some wind noise from this when I was driving it. That's how quiet this thing is. I mean, you can hear it running because the camera's here. But when you're in the car, it doesn't make a lot of noise. It does drive wonderfully. I've also noticed that the steering on this particular car is tight, no slop. That thing over there, you can move the wheel like this and the car won't move. It wafts. This thing, it's, you know, it drives like my Lamborghini over there. It's really, really tight. I'm considering doing, don't yell at me. I'm considering putting in LED lights all the way around. These are regular traditional halogen lights. They make LEDs that look exactly like these, but much brighter white lights. So I'm not going to put any blue, goofy color. They would look stock, but they would just simply be brighter and be less drain on the battery and the alternator. So they would look completely stock, but they would be LED technology. And because I don't believe in the goofy LED lights. But sometimes you need to have the traditional light and these markers and things. But all of these lights work. It's hard. I mean, you can even see them in the daytime and they're working. But for some reason, the fog lights are missing on the car. Let me turn it off, bro. I don't know if it just didn't come with them or if they were removed. But I noticed that, and they may, here, I've never crawled under here. That was the antenna. Let's crawl under here and have a look. Oof. Oh, yeah. This is where the fog light is supposed to be. And it's been snipped or just not used. And this is where they mount. So I'm going to order me the fog lights. We've had a couple of scrapes here. Let's see underneath this car. Look at that pan. That pan is clean compared to that other Corniche that's just a oily wreck. I mean, this thing is clean, rust-free. I do see a drip over there. A Rolls-Royce that doesn't leak is a Rolls-Royce with no fluid in it. But this is why I decided to go this route. No rust. This is a Florida car. I was living in Ohio for a little while. Tow hook. Huh, there's a wire here, but not one there. It may be back there, but that's where the fog light would go. I wonder why it was removed. It's interesting. I wonder if the motors that operate the little wipers here are actually in there or not. I don't know. Those are Wagner halogens, so they may have been replaced. I don't know if those are the originals. The sprayers are there. I don't know if they're filled or not. We'll find out. Sorry about that. I'm fat and I'm old. Anyway, I thought this would be a fun video for you guys to check out. That's pretty much all the operation of the car. Oh, look at that. I've locked the door with the keys inside. Good thing the top was down, because I don't have a spare. I'm getting that done shortly. Oh, and this was in the way. Gosh darn seatbelts. I just love that they designed this car so that you would drive it around drinking your choice of bourbon or vodka. Just stop for a little toddle, a sip. I love it. I'm so happy right now. Oh, there you go, guys. My fourth, actually my fifth Rolls-Royce. My second Corniche, my Silver Shadow, and I've had two Phantoms. If you're a viewer of my channel that's been watching for a long time, you know that I had two Phantoms. I bought the world's cheapest Rolls-Royce Phantom about 5 years ago or more, 2019. I keep the Phantom in this little sealed box here. And that was my daily driver for a long time. I have some other cars I daily drive. I bought a Maserati Levante that I daily drive. But this thing here is my my Phantom. There it is, a 2006 Phantom. And this car is unbeatable. I mean, this thing is gigantic, it's huge. Has the coach suicide doors, as they're known, with the Starlight headliner in there. There's nothing in the world like when I go pick up my friends at the airport or something in this thing and take them down the Las Vegas Strip with the sunroof open. It's a wonderful experience. I'll never not have a Phantom. Once you become a Rolls-Royce owner, it's kind of hard to go back. It's like trying to go back to living in the days without air conditioning or something, or running water. Once you get used to it, the bug bites you. And that's what's happened to me. I have been bitten by the Rolls-Royce bug. A lot of Rolls-Royce owners own multiple of these cars. The Silver Shadow that ran from like 1995 all the way up until, oh gosh, I forget when. I mean, I think they used the same engine and technology in those cars up until like, what, 98 or something when they made the merger. The thing about it is, if you can find one well sorted, that everything on it works, good paint and everything, for less than 50 grand, that's what you want. If you go down the route, like this car here, I bought for $10,000. I've put $15,000 in it. So you got $25,000 into that car. But that's a well-sorted running and driving car. The windows go up and down. It has air conditioning, heat. Everything on it works. Everything on the car works, pretty much. You know, there might be one little niggle here and there that, you know, is a little wonky. But so I started looking at, what do I want to spend on this car here? So this car, you know, you're going to spend, let's say you spend $5,000 to $10,000 on a mediocre paint job, an okay paint job, decent. You're going to spend $2,000 in rubber. What I mean by that is every seal on this car has to be replaced. All the top, all the doors, all of those, that's about $2,000. It already has a new top, but it's going to need a new headliner and the padding and a few other things. That's about $2,500. Now, I do have the wood that's going to be used to restore the top. Then you have the different mechanicals that you're going to have to do to it. That's mostly labor. I think if you send it out to be done, you're easily going to spend 10 or 15,000 on labor. If you do it yourself and you know what you're doing, you know, very little, because the things that have to be replaced are just little rubber seals and gaskets and things. So I think you're going to spend about $20,000, you know, unless you know how to do paint and body yourself. But like, for instance, look at this window. Like, this window has to come out and this seal has to be replaced, right? So doors taken apart, all the chrome removed, car repainted, just these little things like that. But, you know, here's the thing about these Rolls-Royces that I keep preaching. Let me put the battery on this thing. I got the battery disconnected. Okay, battery's on. This car sat for I don't know how long. And I've demonstrated this I don't know how many times. Starts right up. Starts right up. That's a Rolls-Royce. I drove it out of the garage, drove it in here. So yeah, it's got some leaks and some exhaust that needs fixed and a few things like that. But I think 20 grand would sort this car out. But how much you're gonna have in the car when you're finished? You're gonna have over $50,000 in the car, or some roundabouts, okay? Well, but then again, if you were to go out and buy a nice Corniche and spend 60, 70,000, 80,000 that's on all original, this is gonna be a car that's gonna have all brand new rubber and all brand new paint and all brand new everything. And then you're gonna have a like new brand new Corniche for less than you could buy a well sorted. So that's the question. Which one do you go for? So that car will be for sale soon. Keep an eye out for that. I just want to fix a few of the mechanicals and a few things, get it a running driving car so that it'll be a running driving car without the top operating. Maybe the top will operate, we'll see. But this just kind of solved all the problems for me. It's not as bright of a red as I wanted. It's a little bit more of a burgundy, crimson, oxblood, whatever you want to call it. But I'm happy with it. I may repaint the car, actually. I may, in the future, go ahead. There's a red that I'm in love with. It's a house of colors called Cosmo Red. And I'm in love with that color. And I may repaint it that color. But we'll cross that bridge if it ever comes. Because at night, it's a much darker color. I would like it to be a little bit more vibrant red. In the meantime, if you love this kind of content, if you're a lover of Rolls-Royce content, then I think that you're gonna love my channel. So please subscribe. Go onto my channel into the video section, search for Rolls-Royce, and you'll find many, many years of really cool Rolls-Royce content videos that I've done. Thank you for watching. Thanks for being a fan. And subscribe. I'm gonna go enjoy this car today. It's a beautiful day here in Las Vegas. I love life. Thank you guys. Bye. Just a little bonus footage, not an endorsement of this product, but this is what I use. I just did this little section. I don't know if you can tell on camera. Can you tell the difference between that side and this side? Look at how clean that is, right? You take a car like this, you spend an hour or two detailing it. You get a guy to detail it, clean the car, spend $500 and have the car detailed. Have this paint corrected, polished, cleaned. This car would become a showroom condition car. Right, just a little bit of product on this car, the dude would have made double the money. You spray a little back to black on this black stuff on the rubber rejuvenator, little lube here in the corners, right, little WD-40, whatever. You clean up all these areas. Look at all the dirt in here, right? You super clean the windows. Just put a little pledge on this wood. You talk about a completely different car. Just a lesson, guys. Just a lesson. Clean cars make money. Dirty cars do not. I mean, look at this. Here, take a little of this stuff here. Spray it on there. Take your brush. There's actually a crack there. That can be easily fixed and repaired. You'll see a lot of videos out there on how to fix one of these little leather cracks. All right, you can fill that in and it'll be like new, right? There's always elbow stains right there. Those rub right out. I'm just gonna do a quick clean to the car and it'll be a different car. Just a little bonus footage, little advice from Videobob. Catch you guys later.